This is a brief tutorial to show you how to do the APA references page and the in-text citations for your rhetorical analysis of an advertisement paper. As I told you in class, if I have not taught it, I will not grade you on it, so we're not going to worry for this paper about things like abstracts or running heads or title pages. I'm only looking for the entry on your references page and your in-text citation. So what you want to do is on our course page, if you click on modules, and scroll down until you see APA resources for the rhetorical analysis of an advertisement. This page shows you how to do that in-text citation. There is a small error here. This C should be lowercase. In APA, you only capitalize the first word of the title and any proper nouns. But since this has been incorrect on here since I posted it, I will not take off this time for that formatting error. As it says here, subsequent references won't require a citation for this paper. And as I explained in class, that's not exactly true to APA style. But APA papers often, or do not often, reference the same source over and over as you'll be doing in this paper. So we're kind of forging our own path here. So you'll just need to provide that citation the first time you use it. Now, most of you are dealing with YouTube or similar videos. If that's the case, you're going to click on Citing a YouTube Video, and that will pull up the OWL at Purdue APA Style Guide for electronic sources. You're going to scroll down until you see the YouTube or video blog example. Now, if you used a different service, video service than YouTube, the formatting will be exactly the same, except that you'll obviously substitute whatever source you used for YouTube. This is the general format, the generic version, and this is an example they've done for you. I prefer, as you all know from class, I like to copy and paste the example into my Word document and work from there. But you can do whatever works for you. As you can see, if the author of the video and the screen name are the same, you do not need to list those twice. And for the example here, that seems to be the case because they only listed it once. But if they're different, you'll want to list both. Another potentially confusing thing here is where it says video file. You might be led to believe that you have to upload some sort of file there. It's actually telling you to write video file to indicate the medium of the source you're dealing with. So again, like I said, I like to copy and paste the example into the Word document. And you want to go ahead and change the font to Times New Roman 12. Okay, and copy and paste. As you know, you need to write references centered at the top of the page. Then you can come down and look at your example and fill in your information. So I'm going to use the video we went over in class. So I've pulled up my YouTube video, and I can see here that Nike is both the author and the uploader, so I don't need to list that twice. I see that the ad is called Dream Crazy, and I see that it was published on September 5th, 2018. So I go back to my Word document, and I can just fill in that information. So it's Nike, the date, the title, and remember we only capitalize the first word unless there are proper nouns in it. I write video file to indicate the medium, and I simply write retrieve from, and I go back and get my URL. I can just copy and paste that directly into my Word document. if you like this method that I'm doing where I've copy and pasted the sample, don't forget to delete it before you turn in your paper because you didn't actually use that sample source. And you're almost done, but you need to go in and do your hanging indent. So the easiest way to do that in Microsoft Word is to highlight your text, right-click, go to Paragraph, go to Indentation Special, and you want Hanging by 0.5. Then for your spacing, you want it set to double, and I like to click this Don't Add Space Between Paragraphs in the Same Style and make sure all this is set to 0 so that if you were typing in single space before, it's not adding additional spaces when you add the double space. And once you click OK, your formatting is good to go. If you're using a still image from the internet, you're going to click on this link. And it's actually the first entry here. So what you'll do is you will copy paste as we did before, and you'll see that our elements are author, date of publication, title of page, format description where necessary, and where you retrieved it from. Okay, so this is going to get a little bit, you're going to have to get a little bit creative when you're dealing with the historical advertisements because you don't have necessarily all the information for the original source. So what I did was I found one where someone has listed or has given information about a historical advertisement. So this might be something similar to what you've given. So essentially what we're trying to do is make sure that our readers can find the sources that we have used and that we give credit to the people who've either written those sources, designed those sources, or made those sources available. So I would advise you in this case to use this poster's name as your author, even though obviously the person who put this on this web page is not the writer of this historical ad. So we go to our works cited page, and her name was Bev De Silva. So in APA, as we see here, it's the last name and first initial, and second initial if there is one. Okay. Then I look and see when this was posted, which is 2016. Again, this is only if you're using a still image. And you could have found those in a number of different places on the web or in print. So if this doesn't fit your source, just let me know and I'll help you figure it out. So she's calling this post First Coffee Advertisement Ever. That's what I would call it because that's, even though you would be talking about this historical ad from 1893, the post that you got it from is called First Coffee Advertisement Ever. That's the source you're citing. So simply, and this is something that's quite different from MLA, this is not a standalone source, so in MLA this would go in quotation marks, but in APA it doesn't have those quotation marks. And again, we only capitalize the first word and any proper nouns. Okay. This element here, our source does not have, so we can actually, this is not in translation, we can just get rid of that. So all we have to do, our source guide tells us, our style guide tells us that to list the type of source if necessary. Since this is an ad on a web page, I would just go ahead and put web page here. And then retrieve from, and you'll go get your URL and copy and paste that there. Okay. Again, some of these, especially if you're dealing with a historical advertisement, might get a little bit tricky. So, do let me know If you have questions about how to cite it, we may have to kind of combine different types of citation, but this should get you pretty close to where you need to be. There are a couple of small errors here. One, I misspelled De Silva, and two, I need a period here. So you always want to double check your style guide before you finish your citation. If these were my sources, obviously for this paper you're only going to have one citation, but if I did have both of these, they would obviously need to go in alphabetical order, and you can go to the sorting function here, okay, and you want them ascending, and that's going to go ahead and sort them for you, which when you have a lot of sources, that's really helpful and easier than doing it by hand.